Hello, everybody. I'm grateful to be here, and honest to goodness, I think this service was set up completely according to what was in my heart to talk about today. So I wanted to share something. It's been a while, and I think you all know a lot has happened since I saw you last. But one of the things that you might not know is that I had a really scary, vulnerable, and painful health crisis, and decided to share it today because I feel like some of the wisdom that I learned in that deep, painful space could be really of service to the collective issues that we're going through lately. So what happened? I was a really healthy girl. I mean, I would go into the gym 5 days a week and eat healthy and positive mindset. And then an unexpected and still unexplained issue happened with my colon. And without going into all the crappy details, literally, sharing that it took 8 surgeries and almost 2 years of having drains to let it heal from the inside out before I was back to my full wellness. So what happened, the way I see it now, because in the moment, not so much, but it was pain took my hand and said, "My dear, come in with me because divine destruction is going to happen out here." And that it did. Because any distraction that I had of being unwilling to look at the pain that I still had and going into my shadow. You know, Carl Jung talks about our darkness being our shadow, and it's not always a bad thing. There are beautiful things that are often hidden in our shadow that we didn't feel enough spirit within us yet to be able to share. So pain took my hand and said, "My dear, enough." And, you know, because I don't mean to brag. I mean, being a clinical therapist and a leadership coach, I've got a lot of methods to avoid my own pain. Because not only did I learn them from me, I learned them from all of you. So, and I don't want to say I'd get a gold medal in avoidance of what I was afraid of, but I'd go a full-on bronze for myself. I'm pretty sure I was good at it. But thank goodness of all of those years of being a therapist and a coach, because I had so many tools to help get me through this pain. Because I couldn't work. Because any team building or speaking or anything I wanted to do, I had drains in uncomfortable places, so I literally could not sit the entire time I had them. It was too painful. And that just in general pain, I couldn't be present with you. So to be a coach or a therapist, even if I was going to do it telephonically or on Zoom, I had to be with my own pain. And what a gift. Because I had to let go of work, and I love work, so I don't find it all a distraction, but some of it was. I'm entrepreneurial, so I'm always pushing, always striving. Had to stop. And socially, forget it. There's no way that I could manage the pain I was in and to be social with others. So I know you all sort of already get that now, collectively, right? The pandemic might have brought you into extremes of not being able to work and your finances. And God bless, I hope not your health, but a lot of us have struggled with the health side of it as well. And certainly we all know what it feels like to not be social now, to not being able to have. So that's why I decided I wanted to share. That's where this comes from. So, since the pandemic, while I'm going through all of this, all I was pretty much doing was learning from my pain, or being stubborn about it, either way. But one of the things that I did daily, and partly because I had to, was walk my dog Bella. Now, I've got a rescue dog, Bella, and she is some kind of terrier mix. And anyone who's ever had a terrier knows they're very independent souls and can also be very stubborn. So I found her to also be kind of a reflection of me, and she gave me so many gifts. So it wasn't just my pain teaching me, it was Bella teaching me a lot, because I finally had ears to listen and eyes to see with her, because everything else had been pretty much destroyed by the divine of what I had so much focus on. So as I started to walk with Bella, and I'm so blessed, and if you're in the room, I know you are too, to live in Key West. And we were walking and, having drains and feeling in lots of pain. I was often still rushing her. I just wanted to get back home. I don't know why, because what am I going to do there too? But I was rushing her along, and in her stubborn way, Bella would stop and pause and refuse to move. And with surgery, I couldn't pick her up, so I had to stay. And I remember the moment where I huffed. I was my stubborn self too. I went, and something clicked in alignment with lessons I've learned in my own spiritual development. There's so many words for God, spirit, source. If you look in the Jewish tradition, in Hebrew it's Yahweh. And I do that because I feel back to that moment. And I don't know if you know, but if you speak Hebrew, and if you speak Yahweh within the sacred way of speaking it, it's Yahweh. It's your breath. And something clicked in me to say, oh my gosh, I get it. It's God's with me right now, because God's been with me in every breath. Without a breath, and given in some of those surgeries were quite serious and didn't always go well. So I'd been facing my own mortality, of realizing the gift and the abundance of my breath, of God, spirit, source, whatever, universe, whatever you're comfortable with. It's what's keeping me alive in this body right now. And it's been with me since the moment I was born, and until the last moment I stay in this body on earth. And I thought, what a gift. I finally, all the times I get clinically why it's important to be with our breath, and how, as we oxygenate, we can slow down and we can relax, and all the different clinical things that happen. And even speaking it spiritually about being with our breath, I actually felt it, if that makes sense. For the first time. And I looked up, and I love low tide, and so does Bella. She's a little fisherwoman. She loves to go bait fishing, and it was just stunning. Like, my eyes had shifted and saw things differently, deeper, like brighter, bluer, greener ocean. I fell in love with life deeper. And so I thanked my pain, and I thanked Bella. And I started bringing my camera with me, because in those moments, I wanted to capture them, because I'm learning to pause myself. I started calling them Bella pauses, because she would pause, her P-A-W-S, to give us a P-A-U-S-E. But then I thought later, I'm like, oh, she's giving me pauses in beauty. That if this had not happened to me, I don't think I would have ever seen it with the depth. I could see it, but I don't know that I ever felt it that much. And so to extend the goodness, I would write in my gratitude journal. So most of you who know me know that I have a gratitude practice, but these became my gratitude walks, which I began to hold sacred. So I wanted to share with you, as I developed in them, I also would, when I left my house, I keep a beautiful vase outside with rocks around it. And when I leave, I would pick up a heavy rock and put it in the vase, saying, I'm leaving this worry here. So without working and being an entrepreneur, finances were often one of the heavy burdens of putting it, and said, I'll be back for you later. You can't come with me. But believe me, I'll see you when I get back, I promise. So I'd pick up all those burdens, and if I came home, sometimes I didn't bring those burdens back in with me, and a lot of times I did. They were constant, and even to this day. So I would put those there, take my camera, find whatever beauty, whether it was Bella's pauses or mine, we worked together to notice the beauty, and then I'd write about it. And I started putting it on my social media, not all of it, but Some of it that I was willing to share, I'd put out, and enough people said, Jenny, put that in a book. I'm like, yeah, no. And then the pandemic happened. So I'm like, I've got some time. So I did. I put some in. I wanted to share with you because they're all from Key West. It's just walking, and literally where we are here, every single one of the pictures and stories happen within no less than a mile from where we're sitting right now. So the first one I wanted to take a moment and share with you there's Bella. I wrote about the Bella pause. I don't know if I can read this way. So today's gratitude walk focused on Bella pauses, those moments that Bella stops our walks. She refuses to leave, takes her time, and embraces life. I found myself trying to hurry her along, and then I wondered, why am I rushing in a still world? Where is it I need to be? The world has paused all of my patterns. There is nowhere I have to be right now. As I sat in this discomfort that arises for me with this thought, I realized my hurried pace gives my negative thoughts the space they need to survive. Because when I still, peaceful thoughts take their place. I realize I've been rushing past where I am to where I think I need to be. I smile at the inspired thought that there's nowhere to be but here. It was that moment. It still gives me chills of remembering what it's like to be present. Because I know my mind's already thinking about what I'm going to say to you next. But this morning I actually sat and was present, and it was beautiful. But realizing at every moment I have the capacity and the ability to be present and not worry about the past anymore. If I look back, I try to put on my perception of forgiveness, and if I look forward, I look at it hopefully, but I get really excited about being here now. And it wasn't always easy, but pain taught me that. Because when I'm in pain, it's pretty much bringing me here now, whether I like it or not. And looking out there as, my job had fallen away, and some of the relationships, I'm a giver by nature, so it's not uncommon that I've created some codependent relationships. Well, when I'm in the receiving space, because I'm in pain, they fell away. So it was divine destruction to watch that go away and realize how many people showed up to teach me the humility and beauty of receiving. So I wanted to share another because it's very much divine destruction that was happening and still is, by the way, in a pandemic of what no longer serves me out here. I don't feel triggered to go seek it anymore. It's actually all in here that I'm focusing my attention on. And it overflows for me to give, and then receiving naturally comes. So it's shifted for me. Before I used to give to receive, and now it's just overflowing and coming back. And so as I sat and was really angry and grieving and mad and yelling at God that why am I going through this surgery after surgery after surgery? And, me being a hopeful, positive person, by number 7, I'm over it. And having drains, I'm over it. I'm like, God and I had an all-out battle. And thank goodness, God won. So I looked at my soul like a vessel, like a ship. Because, being in love with Key West and in love with the water. So I called this one Sailing Soul. And you can see, if you can, that it's coming out of the storm into the light. And this is when I realized, and it was even before all my surgeries were done, that I would get there too. And the tremendous amount of gifts that happened far beyond my body healing. It was healing my heart. It was healing my mind. And my soul was leading me to where exactly I was supposed to be on this path, whether I knew it or not, whether I liked it or not for a while. It was bringing me right to where I needed to be and in alignment. So I called it Sailing Soul. In this sunset, I felt my soul speak. She spoke in waves that overtook my small vessel and threw me into a bottomless, unknown sea. She cut me open and threw me in with bloodthirsty predators. She let me fight, wail, and rage until I had suddenly nothing left in me except to surrender. It was in my surrender that I was able to see with new eyes. I understood that it was all a gift. I had to be lost, alone, and attacked to let go of who I thought I was supposed to be, to wake up to who I am. I suddenly had a profound appreciation that any and all methods necessary will be employed in love to save me from myself. That any and all methods would be used to save me from me. I sat peacefully, looking back at the storm, and let it be behind me. The fears faded away with the misty clouds, leaving behind volumes of wisdom, and for the first time, loving back the love that had always been there. So how beautiful is my pain? It showed up to say, you want to be this stubborn? I've got something for you, my dear. Because I love you this much, I'm not going to leave you in the world you thought you were supposed to be. I'm going to bring you home. So with that, I wanted to leave you a prayer, with a prayer that I say just about every day. But I wanted to show you, because I'm sure you'll probably know this statue of Our Lady of Lourdes. And if you can see, she's got this aura around her. It was a white aura, and it stopped me in my tracks. And I said this prayer during the time. So I said, on today's grateful walk, hope fills my heart as I see an aura of light around Our Lady of Lourdes. She reminds me that at all times, there's at least someone praying around the world for the good of us all. We don't always know where someone is praying or who it is, but it's the love of humanity in action. I stop and pray. May all be healthy. May all be safe. May all be free of suffering. May all flourish. May all find their love within and shine who they are. And I wish that for you today, that you look for your shine and you flourish no matter where you go, that you spread it naturally. So I know that we're all going through our own journey, and the pandemic has brought all of us a pain in some way. But my prayer would be that just as this physical pain that I had for so long taught me that it's not there because you've done something wrong or something's not good about you. It's there because of love. Because you're getting to surrender what no longer serves. And it doesn't always feel good. But when I get really stuck, because my ego sometimes really wants to hold on to something, I go back to that breath I talked about a little earlier. And I remember that breath is there in love, because that's God giving us the gift every second. And it taught me actually that I do have tremendous deep trust. Before I had that thought, I never thought, am I going to have another breath? Until surgeries and some shenanigans happened. But I'm like, oh, it's always there. And it didn't care if I'm healthy or sick. My breath is there. It doesn't judge. It doesn't care if I have lots of friends around or none. It doesn't care if in a relationship or not. It doesn't care about my bank account if it has a lot or none. It's just consistent love. So during the pandemic, I had found that new gift of, oh, okay, this doesn't feel good. But I was pretty good at being on my own just because I had to with everything that happened. And I was pretty good. I realized that Such simplicity has made my life so deeply grateful. Just taking a grateful walk with my dog Bella changes my whole day. And when I'm really struggling, when one more thing happens, I go back into my breath and realize how loved I truly am. So I'm going to give, if you wouldn't mind, a little bit of homework. That sometime this week, you take time just for you, maybe and with your dog or your partner, and go on a grateful walk. And as you're walking, find something that is so beautiful and spend some time. I don't always say it out loud, but I will spend some time and oh my God, I'm thanking a flower. And around lately, this morning, there was one, I don't know what they're called, but there's ones they're all together, but one's blooming, one's not, one's budding. And isn't that where all of us are in our journeys? And same thing I thought about this morning, there's a butterfly that went by, and I'm oh, I bet I look at those surgeries as kind of part of my time in the cocoon. Because I don't know all the signs, but the caterpillar, when it goes in, it kind of completely destroys into mush before it comes back out to be the caterpillar. And so I kind of feel worldwide, we're in our cocoons together. And I look forward to seeing how beautiful all of your wings are going to be. So thank you for this time, and I'm grateful for all of you.